Hi there. So this is my basically video version of my self-reflection that I did after completing my working in teams course and the project that we had. We basically formed a group of five of us were formed into a team, and we had to create like a slideshow slash presentation about reconciliation within the public school system and how we could include that within the curriculum. So, I mean, initially, when I have to admit I was not a big fan of working in groups or teams. Honestly, I probably would not have taken the working in teams course if it wasn't really mandatory. My apprehension was basically from the fear of letting others down and then even others letting me down. Because I've had a few experiences in the past where I may have worked on like another group assignment and wrote part of a paper, and then basically my other team member just took what I wrote and changed it completely, and that kind of just kind of made me a little more self-conscious of my writing and what I put within a group. Today, I do feel a little more confident in my writing skills, and I do try my best to not let others' criticism get to me. At least I use it as more constructive nowadays rather than using it as a way to harm my ego or my self-esteem. Starting this semester, I assumed there would definitely be some group work, not a lot, but um, there's definitely more than I had initially thought there would be. But I guess that is because group work is a huge part of becoming an educational assistant. In the course of working with in teams, after we learned who our teams were, we started to communicate pretty quickly. We used Slate to email and message back and forth, and then moved on to WhatsApp messaging, calls, and even Zoom meetings. We had a lot of time for the final assignment since it was initially assigned in January when the course started, and then it was due at the beginning of April. So initially we were a bit more relaxed for sure. I was the one who did initially choose a topic of reconciliation, and how we should indigenize our learning within the Ontario school system. And everyone else basically agreed because it was a good topic. When we moved along, I felt like I had kind of taken the reins because I was the one giving ideas on how we can set up our presentation. But then later on, I did notice that some people have forgotten some of the ideas that I had mentioned. And then when others brought those topics up, it was more so seen as something brand new, not something that I had mentioned before. But I didn't really do like didn't bother me that much. In that case, I felt like I was more of an understanding team member, and I thought it was enough that we were on the same page. This allowed me to better interpret how all of my team members functioned as well. I was a good listener, and I felt everyone could come to me with any questions or comments. There was some miscommunication between us, but I did my best to help clarify anything and my team members asked about. I wanted to make sure that there was a positive social climate within the team where I didn't want somebody to feel like they felt like they were stupid or they felt that their opinions didn't matter. Like we tried our best to listen to all the ideas and everyone spoke without any interruptions. I made sure to get my part of the assignment done before the deadline that we actually had preset for ourselves. I viewed the others' work and did provide input as well. At this time, I felt I may have overstepped, but I felt not all of the details we discussed in our meetings were included. After one of the team members edited slides, I did go over them again to make sure everything was formatted correctly. And I even added a team member slide to the presentation for them when they were occupied with their actual work. My goal was to make sure we had a solid presentation to hand in and that we were all on the same page throughout the whole process. I know we encountered a few barriers throughout the duration of the working project. Majority of it was due to poor communication. We were only able to communicate virtually, so our primary method of communication was through our WhatsApp chat. There were times when there was miscommunication because because something that may have been typed was misconstrued and members may have gone offended. So we also dealt with some miscommunication due to language barriers when certain members spoke or even typed. It was hard to interpret exactly what they were trying to say. So we did our best to clarify by asking questions and making sure we responded accordingly. Close to the due date, we did encounter trouble when one of our members became unresponsive and missed the meetings that we started having more closer to the due date. When most of us completed our assigned parts, that team member had not contributed anything as of that point to the presentation. Eventually, we kind of gave them like a stern deadline and let them know that they're not able to do what they agreed to do, then no worries. We would just hand in what we have so far. Being so close to the deadline was a stressor for us. At this time, I was not too worried. I felt we had a good amount of material for a presentation. In time, the team member who was kind of not present for a little bit of it got back and ended up getting back right back to work. So we were all back on the same page again. During the time where they were not cooperating, the other team members were kind of like, what do we do? What if we don't have it? But at the same time, I was like, you know what? We have a lot of information already. And their part, I mean, it is something that we would like to add to make our presentation stronger, as is what we have is pretty good, and handing in would not be a problem at this point. As a team, we did have characteristics be very effective. We all shared the same goal and agreed on how we would be presenting. We were very organized, assigned roles, and developed a plan along with a due date. We did not adhere to due dates we set for ourselves, unfortunately, but did our best to meet the actual due date. Some members were confused on what they needed to do, but we made sure to clarify and openly communicate. We shared ideas on how they can perform their role. We were unified as we had the same goal, but we each did our parts on our own as well. We did ask for input and edited as a whole presentation rather than part by part. We kept a positive climate and supported each other throughout. If we did not agree on something, we did talk it through instead of arguing about it. We were given enough time to complete the project, and our goal to complete it in time was attainable. Since we were learning virtually, we were not able to get too much outside support, but we did have a meeting and we knew we were on the right path when we did speak to our professor, so that was good. We all shared ideas and provided suggestions. There were times when someone might have led, but same person was never, but there wasn't like an actual person who was an assigned leader. Not to be presumptuous, I did feel I was a team member. I was there for my team. We discussed the assignment and had conversations aside the topic as well. Everyone could come talk to me because I would listen. There was no negativity, no mean humor, and I gave credit where credit was due. This built trust between all of us. This made sure we communicated well and completed the assignment effectively as we could, and came into this project worrying about failing my members or them even failing me, honestly. It did not stop me from putting in 100% when others might have been stressing. I was actually calm and collected. My thoughts was that as long as we complete the project well and on time, we would be successful. We should be able to rely on each other, but this should not take away from our end goal. From that, have I gotten better at working with teams? I think so. Unfortunately, I can't say I've had a lot. I mean, majority of the time that I have worked with others, it has been a very positive experience. There've probably been like one or two assignments where I did work with a team and I did not have the best time or the best support from my team members. But honestly, it's just one or two times. Uh, I would honestly prefer working by myself than with a team. But if it's something that's a really big assignment, such as this one was, the reconciliation project, then I would definitely prefer working with a team. Okay, well, that was my self-reflection based on my working with teams assignments that I had to hand in at the end of the term, which is back in April. Yeah, so that was my video presentation of that. Thank you.